Good morning, London. Thanks for joining us. Gabino and I are super excited to be here today. We're extremely humbled and honored to once again headline the second annual FinTech Live right here at the magazine in London. So thank you for having us. I do want to give a quick shout out and kudos to our great friends and partners at FinTech Magazine and BizClick Media. I don't know if you guys saw how they promoted this event with a cyber poster. They took all the sponsors and speakers of last year and put them together in this kind of Avenger Assemble looking poster, which was very impressive. So yeah, we're very happy with that. So guys, you're phenomenal. And for the audience here and those who are joining us virtually, if you want to know the latest up-and-coming CEOs and entrepreneurs or the up-and-coming fintech firms that are out there, what's really changing the face of finance, you got to follow these guys at FinTech Magazine and BizClick Media. So give them a like and follow and a quick applause for these guys here. We want to buy your company, and you're going to be millionaires. Those are the exact words my brother and I heard several years ago. Now, it sounds great, but it's not everything it seems. And so today's discussion is about Series A funding and strategic relationships. So every entrepreneur and business owner out there probably wants to achieve and get into a Series A, and it's a great milestone to get to. But why are you doing it? Well, you get validity in the market space. You get some funding, right? You're not going to run out of money in the foreseeable future. And you get big name independent institutions that say your product and service is real, and they put their names and money behind it. All really good reasons for why going through a Series A. But if your product and service is really good and you know how to pitch it well, you can get money from anywhere. Believe me when I tell you, my brother and I, we've talked to over 200 individual angel investors, high net worth individuals, venture capitalists, private equity firms, and large financial institutions. You can get the money. What you need to make sure of is you have the right strategic relationships. And so I'll talk about some scenarios here, and hopefully you'll take away some ideas from our experience of what we've gone through. But what you want to look out for is maybe the investor that comes in and decides to invest in your business, but also hedge their bets and invest in your competitors or up-and-coming pseudo-competitors. That's a bad idea. Right? So this moment you have a stressful situation going on your end, they may cut bait and run and invest in their other investment, double down with your competitors. Now, they may have NDAs, and they're not supposed to say anything, but they have insider business knowledge of your company. And then they could potentially share it with them. And how are you going to prove that they are doing that? You don't even have the money to spend on the lawyers because you're trying to raise it to go to a Series A, right? So that's a danger in itself. Another scenario is you may have pseudo clients that are courting to look at your product or service, but then they realize they want to invest in you because you might have a good thing. Believe it or not, my brother and I have worked in this space in FinTech, and we found entrepreneurs that are taking money from their target clients, and those clients that invested in their business are not using their product or service. That's a big no-no for us. If you invest in our company, you're going to be using our service, especially if you're one of our target clients. And you're not getting it for free, right? Because they're going to wait till you run out of money, so you have to raise more money through them and give up more equity. That's not how this game works, right? They should pay for your service. Now, not full price maybe at a discount or a structure that you decide that deems fair, but that needs to be self-sustaining. And a third, most obvious option is when you go through, some strife, and now you're in trouble, and the company that's lending you money may appear to be taking advantage of you to get more power and control of your company and more equity. So take a step back for a second, because I know a lot of these venture capitalists get a bad name. They're called vulture capitalists for a reason. But the reality is, most of us are entrepreneurs and business owners. We're doing this for the first time. So if you have a 1-2 trick pony and you're in over your head and you took this as far as you can go and you're making mistakes, you got to eat that humble pie and let people help you, okay? They did take a risk and put money into that investment. You want to allow them to help you, guide you through this. They've seen this before. But if you're a master of your domain and you've been moving things along predictably well, and this is just another financing round opportunity that you're looking to get, you want to watch out for things because, as they say, money is power, And when they lend you that money, there's only one thing missing from that equation. That's timing. And they will wait for the right moment to apply the maximum leverage they can to make you break. So you want to anticipate that and make sure you don't fall into those traps that come about through that process. So for us at Saphyre, we didn't do our Series A till about 5 years into our whole adventure. And it wasn't for a lack of trying, because believe it or not, my brother and I, we would have done this within the first 12 months. But there were so many precarious situations, we just had to walk away from so many deals.
We're going to buy you, and you're going to be millionaires. Sounds tempting. We're going to share 2 stories with you, and the first is around temptation. So let's go into 2 years in the Saphyre endeavor, and we get approached by a major financial institution, and those were the words that they used with us, and we were completely tantalized. Well, wow, I can't believe this, right? But we asked an important question. We said, we have all these angel investors, these friends and families that invested in us when there was the highest risk, no guarantee. What are you going to do for them? Well, we're going to give them 6% interest on their convertible notes and tell them to walk away. But you're going to be millionaires. My brother and I spent a lifetime cultivating our relationships, and these folks trusted us. Our entire professional careers, we built this network. We couldn't let them down. We knew that was wrong. How could we benefit the complete upside and then just leave them with 6% interest to walk away? So that wouldn't work for us. But there was a second reason why we didn't take on that reward, and that was because the patented technology behind Saphyre was a true competitive advantage, and this one financial institution wanted to buy it for that competitive advantage for themselves. Now, that is still a phenomenal story to tell, but that's not why Stephen and I got into this business. We did it because it needed to be agnostic of any individual financial institution. We are transforming finance. So we walked away. Story number 2. This one we call the time pressure squeeze. Same year where we got this offer to be bought. Advanced a few months. We're approaching the summer months. Okay? And 3 major big financial institutions approached us. If I mention their names, you will know them. Of course, I can't really say who they are, but okay. In any case, they said they're going to back us. Now, we were completely enamored, floored. We can't believe 3 major financial institutions wanted to back Saphyre. So we're all about yes, 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 sure, sure, sure. What do we got to do? And of course, you guys, if anyone's done a financing round, you have to share your financial information with them. And of course, the plan shows that we had a cash runway that we're going to run out of cash in about 4 months. Just so happens that their plan to close this Series A funding would be done in just under 4 months. Oh, what a coincidence. This is great, right? So the first order of business was they told us that they wanted to have 4 board seats and leave us with 3. What's wrong with this picture? You basically get to veto everything we do. You control every decision without even buying us. Why would we do this? We said, no, this won't work. And after some contention and negotiation, they relented. They said, okay, fine, we will take 3, you can have 4. Cool. So now we move along over 3 months, lots of paperwork, thumbs up, everything's going well. The legal fees, insane. If anyone's done a financing round, you know what I mean by the legal fees. It's just terrible, okay? And then we're about a month away from signing, okay? And we get this news coming in, and they tell us, hey, we're a little concerned about your business. We haven't seen a lot of activity over the summer months. Now, in the B2B space, institutional space, it's not unusual for finance to be kind of quiet because everyone's going on their vacations and whatnot, and things pick up in September. And so they tell us, hey, we're not so sure that we're ready to invest in your business. And so, we know this is putting you in a financial crunch. And you're going to run out of cash at the end of the next month. Maybe we'll give you a convertible note to float you a little bit, AKA take more equity. And we'll work out a new deal maybe after that. We were stunned. And these were the words my brother and I used with them. I'm paraphrasing, but there are two words in particular. Said, hey, how can we go 3 months and a half or so of everything going great, we're tracking, we're doing all this work, we're paying all these legal fees, and a month away, we're at a 180-degree turnaround and you have this severe doubt. That could only be because of incompetence or nefarious reasons. Neither one is good, words we used. We can't in good faith leave the future of our company in your hands. We are going to create our own deal. We will invite you to that deal if you want to participate. Their response was, if we do not lead this investment deal, we will not invest and you will go bankrupt. And then we replied saying, well, then you'll never invest in this company until you're paying clients. And all I can tell you is the way that story ended, all 3 of those institutions are paying clients today. But to understand how that happened, when we made those words, we weren't so sure that was going to happen, okay? We had a backup plan. And so I need to go to the beginning of the Saphyre story, from the point of inception, so you understand what happened. And what I'm about to share with you, for every entrepreneur, every founder, this is very, very key. I feel very strongly about this, so I recommend you considering this tactic. So when I started Saphyre, I started journaling every week everything that I was doing, the meetings I was having with clients, the product development and whatnot. And it was about 6 to 8 bullet points, about 3 to 4 sentences on average. I would email this out to potential investors, BCC'd. They didn't see each other, okay? And that created kind of a FOMO, fear of missing out, with my potential investors because they saw some traction I was making. It was like basically a sales narrative for investing in the Saphyre opportunity, okay? But what I also did is I said to myself, okay, when I write this weekly update next week, what story do I want to tell? What do I want to tell in 3 months, in 6 months? And that is the mental, how you work out today, right? You lift weights, okay? You got to lift weights for your mind. You got to think about your business, how you nurture this baby, this business, and you got to be strategic in building that vision. When you figure out the end of the story you want to tell, you're going to figure out the gaps in between of what things you need to do in terms of building your product, building your team, or people you need to meet, deals that you need to make. Okay, it gives you direction. But this weekly update also held me accountable to those investors. It created transparency. It was consistency. It created the currency of credibility. They were with me along the ride for the good and the bad, and how we pivoted around the bad. So, during those summer months now, advance back to the story. I'm writing a weekly update. Everything's going well. This is what's going on, blah, 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 blah. And I just want you guys to notice, for a lot of founders, they usually do these updates once a year, twice a year, or at most once a quarter, 4 times. That is too long. You should consider doing at least monthly, if not bi-weekly, if you don't want to do weekly. Because if your investors get too much bad news with only a little bit good news, they're going to lose faith in you. Where you been with my money, okay? So they've been along for the ride. They see every week, everything's going great. And then when we got this news, we said, what we're going to do? We're going to be honest. And you know what? They knew we looked out for them when we got offered to be millionaires. We didn't let down our original investors. We honored our deal with them. They knew that there was something hot about this because 3 major institutions wanted to control our board, and then they relented. They knew that most likely this was always in the works of their plan to coincide to create this time pressure squeeze. And so they doubled down on the Saphyre endeavor and gave us the breathing room to negotiate from a position of strength.
So we take it from there, from the end of the summer into the early fall of 2019, and my brother and I knew we had to step up our game a lot more and find other options out there. So we decided to do a roadshow and reach out to a lot of venture capitalist firms and private equity firms out there. And we made sure that the only people who did the presentation were the founders, Gabino and myself. We'd be pitching it to them, and every single firm that we met with, when they stood on the side and said, we're going to think about it, or, hey, it's not really for us, we wanted the honest feedback. We wanted to hear from them what was wrong about our presentation. And it typically was something that we were either too eager, or the product or service we were explaining was too technical. They didn't understand what we were talking about, right? So we got that, and we start crafting our message better and better over time. But as you talk to these venture capitalists and private equity firms, they all talk to each other, and it creates a buzz. They sit there, hey, have you heard about this company Saphyre? What do you think about them? And I don't know, I'm sitting and waiting to see what happens with them and if there's any other news. That creates a FOMO atmosphere, fear of missing out, as my brother said earlier, with them. And so they're all on the edge, and they all talk to each other, and you get a little buzz about your company. And as the COVID lockdowns came in the following year, we started to do everything virtually, so it was actually more efficient for us. We did more meetings online through Zoom. But that coincided with a second of a three-prong strategy that we put out there, which is around a marketing campaign, specifically around social media. We were already active on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter, and we do have a presence on Facebook and Instagram, but we're primarily a B2B space. When we get to B2C, those other platforms we'll focus on. But we stepped up our content creation a lot more, made sure that we were showing more of our thought leadership, doing fireside chats, having one-on-one discussions with Gabino and the thoughts, that what we're changing in finance. And we made sure we put out relative, relatable content in little bite-sized bits. And we had a focus team that we outsourced for a while, but now we hired them in-house. And we hired two people, one a video editor, a second one a content creator. And then you have someone like myself or my brother giving a yay or nay on the ideas. And that's all we did. So if you guys follow any of our content online, it's really done by two guys. It's not that expensive. And we put that content out there, and when the lockdowns happen and nobody can meet anybody, and all you have is social media to interact for business, and especially the VC firms, they saw all of our content. They got to know more about the twins. They got to know, and my team out here, one of them's here today, we wanted to make the feel about Saphyre blue. We're wearing blue suits. Our color is blue. Anything we put online has a blue tint. The Saphyre diamond is kind of like a Rosetta Stone translating things in finance. And just recently, this happens quite often to us. Yesterday here in London, we were walking. We got stopped in the middle of the road and said, wait a minute. Are you guys the Saphyre twins? Yes, we are. So we just roll with it. Not something we asked to do, but what it does, it gives you marketability. And these firms are having more confidence in you. You're out there. You're sellable, right? And they're going to want to know more about you. They want to take that meeting the next time that you approach them about talking with them. Sometimes they'll just outright solicit to you. So it's a great position to be in. But the third piece of this equation that we put in, the strategy we put in, was around structured warrant agreements.
So warrants, you guys may have not heard of that term before, but they're a phenomenal way to get strategic partners to do things for you, okay? To get equity in your company without necessarily giving you money. When you're doing a Series A, rule of thumb is about they're giving up 20% of your company. They take their pound to flesh. So warrants, sometimes you may hear it as part of a Series A funding round. They'll tell you, hey, can we get some penny warrants? I don't recommend it because penny warrants is pennies on the dollar or pennies on the pound, and basically they're getting equity in your company for free for giving you money. What we recommend is using warrants to put specific milestones for these strategic partners to do things for your business. For example, hey, making introductions from a sales channel, introducing you to network forums, lending their name behind your brand if they're using your product and whatnot, and putting specific time frames behind it, right? Not that they can do it in 10 years from now. You're going to do it in 6 months. Otherwise, you don't earn these warrants. And the warrants is not 20%. It's 0.5% for this little thing. It's 1% for this set of things. And maybe if you're making money and you're profitable, you don't even have to do a financing round. You can use warrants to give 0.5%, 1% away for certain objectives that you're looking for.
Right. So warrants is an awesome strategy to use, and those people who are your targeted clients that now become part of these partnerships you have in promoting your business, word of mouth is the most strongest form of advertisement. If I went to solicit to a client to purchase a service or a product from me, I'm coming from a biased position. They're ready to pick up their sword and shield and fight you away. But they come from a source that they trust, a third-party source, then it becomes much more easier to get your message across. Our sales force is extremely small. You're looking at 2 of them right now. And so the majority of our sales force is our third-party partners. But who else can be partners with you guys on this whole adventure? It's your fellow entrepreneurs. In a lot of cases, your fellow entrepreneurs here in the fintech world, they have complementary services. They don't even compete with you. You're trying to take on multi-billion-dollar conglomerates. With their influence and power, they can crush you. But you partner up with a complementary fintech firm or whatever industry you're in, and you have true disruptive power. What happens? The partner goes out there and talks about Saphyre in our case, and might be talking to different departments in that company, might be talking to the same people I'm talking to. And then they hear the good things about our business through them. I do the same vice versa for those companies as well, help promote them. Don't worry about structuring a contract and arrangement for introducing your network to a partner. If they're making money, good for them. Worry about your business. That's a good problem to have. Too many people are in the weeds and trying to make sure that they make every penny on this introduction of their network. Forget that. You might not be around if you can't be successful in your business.
So we walk the talk. Some examples: Symphony, the de facto chat messaging platform in finance. All the major banks are on Symphony. We partner with Symphony. We integrate seamlessly through single sign-on between our technology and theirs. If you're talking about digital negotiations of legal agreements and amendments, Evasort, Arteria AI, SmartDX, we also single sign-on and interoperably work with them to create a seamless experience. We learn about their products. We talk about their products to our clients. TaskEyes, a workflow tool we work with. Symbiont, if you haven't heard of them, a blockchain technology, is phenomenal, right? And the idea here, and I will also say there's also Tana, who does artificial intelligence on your tax forms. They can actually determine if it's been filled out correctly and tell you the implications of what you filled out if you're fulfilling your needs for your business. Phenomenal stuff. When you work together, you can create a compelling value proposition, because now folks, especially when you hear me say single sign-on, they don't have to log into multiple portals. You're creating this seamless experience around, creating a bigger value opportunity, and those guys are talking to their clients about you and vice versa.
And so when I talk to other business owners and entrepreneurs, they're just like, Gabino, Steve, I don't have time to create these partnerships and talk to people and figure things out. You guys are too, so maybe you have time, and I just can't bear with it. And my response is, no. Don't abdicate your responsibility. You have to take self-initiative. You have to get creative. You have to put yourself out there, create those relationships, those partnerships. You need to be that Nick Fury creating your Avenger initiative, right? Find your Iron Man, your Captain America, Hulk, Thor, etc. Create that Avenger team.
So we covered today strategic partner investors. You had the branding, by the way. People invest in people. People follow people. People don't follow necessarily companies. Okay, so remember that. You have the warrant structures we talked about. And then you have the third-party vendors, fintechs, and other entrepreneurs that you can work with to create scale for your business. It is like assembling or putting together all the affinity stones to gather new capabilities and powers to take on those big mega billionaire conglomerates, those Thanoses that think that they're invincible and inevitable.
Yeah, I mean, as you can tell, we're Marvel fans, so forgive us for these analogies, but I do want to end it with this, that becoming millionaires, the money's going to come. But having the opportunity to transform finance comes once in a generation. So thank you for having us. We appreciate the time. We'll take some questions.
Thank you, guys. Okay, this is the first test of our microphone abilities. Are there any questions from the audience before I go to questions I have on here? If there are, please just put your hand up. We do have a microphone ready. Okay, could we get a microphone down to the front here, please? If you just start by stating your name and where you're from, please.
Hi there, yeah. My name's Mosh. I'm from Aquis Stock Exchange. And my question is, as business partners and brothers, how would you describe your relationship dynamic, and how has it evolved over the years?
Yeah, I think my brother and I mean, we have a loving relationship, but as I've told Scott here before, it's sometimes very contentious. But we have to accept the taunt when we disagree, but we know together we complement each other. We're kind of like a yin and yang scenario.
Yeah, we don't hold grudges at all. We get over it pretty quickly. So for our senior management team, sometimes they see some very tense conversations, but we have a habit of just like getting over it very quickly and then moving on. I think that's important. If you don't, then it's not going to work. Most people say that doesn't work, but we're identical twins. I know we look a little different. We've been like this our whole lives, so we're pretty good.
Okay, thank you for your question. I've got some here as well, guys. Now, hindsight, it's a wonderful thing, isn't it? But is there anything that you wish you knew before you started your Series A?
Yeah. Let me just say, if we knew everything, we described some of the situations that we got involved with, but if we knew those are the scenarios we had to go through, we probably would never start this business to begin with. So the reality is ignorance sometimes is bliss. So when we used a lifetime of reputation to get that initial financing from friends and family, we had no choice but try to be successful. So our backs were to the wall, and we were just not going to fail.
Okay. And you talked there a lot about, partnerships and obviously strategic partners, as we can see here. What, in your opinion, makes a good partner?
I mean, a lot of times if a client of yours can also be an investor, that would be ideal. But you heard some of the stories of control, and that's important. And some of those clients have legitimate concerns. In finance, you'll know some of the names out there that they're pseudo-monopolies, right? Once they get their hands on certain data and whatnot, they become very entrenched. It becomes very difficult to then create competition, and some of these institutions feel beholden to those monopolies. So in finance, there's a lot of sensitivity to that. That may be some of what's at play. So you need to think about the selfish interest of those partners and think about the win-win. Just like Stephen had shared before, where you're trying to work with other FinTech partners to be, in our world at least, to be working with you together in a collaborative nature. If you're so worried about, oh, I'm going to get this penny for this dollar versus what they're getting and whatnot, then you're not going to create the bigger value. And you'll know pretty quick the firms that are willing to work with you versus the ones that have that former mindset.
Okay, well, look, I know we're going to be hearing more from you guys at other sessions over the course of the show as well. And also, you probably noticed as you came in, there is a booth outside as well. So if you have any more questions, you want any more information about Saphyre, then please do reach out to Stephen and Gabino. But for now, for a great session, thank you so much, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.